Few empires in history have left as lasting a mark on the world. From its humble origin as a small city-state on the banks of the Tiber River, Rome rose to become the greatest power in the world, ruling over an empire that spanned 3 continents. But with great power came great challenges, and Rome ultimately fell, leaving behind a legacy that endures till this day. Join me as we explore Rome's history and 10 iconic landmarks you'll want to explore when you're here. The history of Rome stretches back over 2,000 years to a time when it was little more than a small settlement of shepherds and farmers. But as the centuries passed, Rome grew in size and power, thanks in part to its strategic location on the banks of the Tiber River. By the 4th century BC, Rome had become the dominant power in central Italy, thanks to a series of successful wars and alliances with neighboring city-states. In 509 BC, Rome established a republic with a system of government that would endure for centuries. Under the republic, power was shared among 2 consuls, a senate, and the people of Rome themselves, who had the power to elect their own officials and make laws. The republic also saw the rise of great military commanders like Julius Caesar and Pompey, who expanded Rome's territories to include much of the Mediterranean world. In 27 BC, Rome transitioned from a republic to an empire, with Augustus Caesar as its first emperor. Under the empire, Rome continued to expand its territories, conquering much of Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. The empire also saw the construction of many of Rome's most iconic structures, like the Colosseum and the Pantheon, and the rise of great emperors like Trajan and Hadrian. Despite its power and wealth, Rome was not immune to the challenges that come with ruling an empire. Economic instability, political corruption, and the rise of barbarian tribes on its borders all contributed to Rome's decline. In 476 AD, Rome fell to the Germanic prince Odovacar, bringing an end to the Western Roman Empire. However, the Eastern Roman Empire, known as the Byzantine Empire, would endure for centuries, continuing to carry on Rome's legacy in the East. Although Rome may have fallen, its legacy endures to this day. From its language, Latin, which forms the basis of many modern European languages, to its legal and political systems, which still influence governments around the world today, Rome's impact on history cannot be overstated. So now, let me take you on a tour of 10 iconic landmarks you'll want to explore when you visit, and imagine what life would have been like for ancient Romans. Starting at number 1, the Colosseum. One of the most famous landmarks in Rome, the Colosseum was completed in 80 AD under the rule of Titus, after it was commissioned around 70 to 72 AD by his father, Emperor Vespasian. It was built as a venue for public spectacles including gladiator battles, animal hunts, and other performances like public executions. The Colosseum could hold between 50,000 and 80,000 spectators, making it one of the largest amphitheaters in the world. It was designed to impress and intimidate visitors. The outer walls were made of travertine stone and are 4 stories tall, with arches and columns that create a grand entrance. The seating area was divided into 3 levels, with the lowest reserved for the emperor and other high-ranking officials. The arena itself was made of wood and covered with sand. During its heyday, the Colosseum was a symbol of Roman power and wealth. Next at number 2, the Roman Forum. Serving as the political and social center in ancient Rome, the Roman Forum is surrounded by ruins of ancient government buildings and temples. Step back in time and you would have found yourself in the city's commercial hub with public gatherings, lectures, and religious ceremonies. The Roman Forum dates back to the 7th century BC, when it was a marshy valley between the Palatine and Capitoline Hills. According to legend, the founder of Rome, Romulus, established the first shrine on the site in honor of the god Jupiter. Over time, the area became a public gathering place for meetings and was gradually developed with temples, government buildings, and monuments. During the Republican era between 509 and 27 BC, the Forum grew in importance as a site of political activity and public life. The Senate House, the Temple of Vesta, and the Basilica Portia were all constructed during this time. Julius Caesar also built a new forum next to the original one, which became known as the Forum Caesaris. Moving on to number 3, the Pantheon. You'll find this ancient Roman masterpiece in the center of Rome where it served as a temple. The Pantheon was built during the reign of Emperor Hadrian around 125 AD, and the name Pantheon comes from the Greek words pan, meaning all, and theos, meaning gods. The temple was designed to be grand and impressive with a massive dome that symbolized the heavens. The concrete used to create the dome is truly impressive. Known as pozzolanic concrete, the Romans carefully developed a mixture of lime, volcanic ash, and small stones. The perfect ratio was developed for ultimate strength, the key ingredient being volcanic ash, sourced from Pozzuoli, a town near Naples. This ash is rich in silica and alumina, which react with lime to create a type of cement that hardens over time. Builders first constructed a wooden scaffolding in the shape of the dome and then poured pozzolanic concrete mix onto the scaffolding in progressively smaller layers, with each layer thinner than the one below. This allowed the concrete to dry and harden evenly without cracking or collapsing under its own weight. The use of pozzolanic concrete allowed for the Romans to build the Pantheon with a massive, unreinforced dome that remains one of the most impressive architectural achievements in the ancient world. The strength and durability of this concrete has allowed the Pantheon to survive nearly 2,000 years, despite earthquakes, fires, and other natural disasters. Number 4. The Arch of Constantine. Built in 315 AD to commemorate Emperor Constantine's victory over the Roman tyrant Maxentius at the Battle of Milvian Ridge in 312 AD, this triumphal arch features reliefs taken from earlier monuments and represents a significant turning point in Roman history. Standing at approximately 21 meters high, 25 meters wide, and 7.4 meters deep, it is situated between the Colosseum and the Palatine Hill. The reliefs on the arch depict scenes from the wars of Constantine, as well as gods, goddesses, and symbols of victory and military power. The arch is an important mark in Roman history since it also showcases an eclectic design that reflects changing artistic and cultural trends of the time. Halfway at number 5, the Baths of Caracalla. Completed in 216 AD, these massive public baths could accommodate up to 1,600 bathers at a time. Built by the Roman Emperor Caracalla, the public baths also included a gym, library, and gardens situated over an area of approximately 28 acres. Take a step back in time and imagine yourself as a Roman citizen during Caracalla's rule. The baths would have been your go-to place to socialize, exercise, and relax. You would have been surrounded by luxury amenities including cold and hot baths, marble floors and walls, intricate mosaics, finely detailed sculptures, and beautiful gardens. Today, the ruins of the Baths of Caracalla are an important archaeological site where you can immerse your imagination into the life of ancient Romans going about their day. Getting closer at number 6, the Circus Maximus. This ancient Roman chariot racing stadium was the largest in the world, capable of seating up to an estimated 250,000 spectators. Roman chariot races were held on a track that was about 600 meters long and 150 meters wide, with seats for spectators arranged in tiers around the perimeter. Races were typically held in teams of 4, with each team representing a different faction or factions represented by different colors. Chariot races were very popular and were considered an important cultural event. Interesting to note, the Circus Maximus also played an important role in Roman politics, as the factions that sponsored the chariot races were often affiliated with different political parties and interests. Today, the landmark is a public park, with only remnants remaining are the track and a few scattered ruins, yet it remains a reminder of ancient Rome's power, prestige, and cultural legacy. Number 7, the Trajan's Market. Built in the early 2nd century AD, Trajan's Market was a large complex of shops and administrative offices built into the side of a hill during Emperor Trajan's rule. The market was built on a sloping hillside with multiple levels connected by a series of ramps and staircases. It was adorned with sculptures and reliefs depicting scenes from daily life in ancient Rome. It was a bustling commercial and administrative center serving as the headquarters for several government agencies, including the Imperial Mint and the Prefecture of the city. After the fall of the Roman Empire, the market fell into disuse and was eventually abandoned. During the Middle Ages, it was converted into a fortified castle and used for defensive purposes. Later, it served as a residence for several noble families. Today, Trajan's Market is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. You can explore the ruins of this ancient market, including the well-preserved arcades and administrative buildings. Moving on to number 8, the Ara Pacis. Built in 9 BC to celebrate Augustus' successful campaigns in Spain and Gaul, the Ara Pacis is an altar dedicated to the Roman goddess of peace, Pax, featuring detailed reliefs depicting mythological scenes and allegories of peace and prosperity, and scenes from the life of Augustus and his family. Originally housed in a purpose-built shrine on the campus Martius, a public space in Rome. Over time, the altar fell into disrepair and was buried under layers of sediment and debris. The Ara Pacis has since been restored to its former glory, where you can see it at the Ara Pacis Museum, one of Rome's most popular historical attractions. Number 9. Palatine Hill. This is one of the 7 hills of Rome, and it is believed to be where Romulus founded the city of Rome. It is now an open-air museum with ruins of ancient palaces and temples. Considered one of the oldest parts of the city, with archaeological evidence that dates back to the 10th century BC, you'll get a glimpse into a time before Rome's rise to power. During the Roman Empire, the Palatine Hill became an important residential area and was home to many of the city's most powerful and wealthy citizens, including emperors and aristocrats, where they built their palaces and villas. Some of the most famous buildings on the hill include the Palace of Domitian, the House of Augustus, and the Farnese Gardens. Explore the ruins of these ancient Roman buildings and admire the breathtaking views of the city below. And ending at number 10, the Domus Aurea. Built by Emperor Nero after the Great Fire of Rome in 64 AD, the Domus Aurea is an extravagant palace that included a lake, gardens, and lavish decorations. The palace was a symbol of Nero's wealth and power, as it covered an area of more than 300 acres. Famous for its opulence, rooms in the palace were adorned with gold, precious stones, and frescoes painted by some of the most renowned artists of the day. Stepping back in time, if you were a friend of Nero, you would have found yourself being wined and dined in luxury and entertainment with facilities for music, theater, and sport. Sadly, after Nero's death, the palace was abandoned and fell into disrepair. Much of it was buried by new construction, including the construction of the Colosseum in the 1st century AD, and by the medieval period it was largely forgotten. It wasn't until the 15th century that the Domus Aurea was rediscovered by Renaissance artists, where they were amazed by the beauty and grandeur of the palace's decorations. Today you can visit the palace's remains on the Oppian Hill, just south of the Colosseum. Although only a small portion of the original palace complex remains, the Domus Aurea is still a testament to the wealth and power of ancient Rome. And these are 10 iconic landmarks you'll want to explore to get a glimpse into the once great Roman Republic and Roman Empire that profoundly influenced the world. Of course, there are plenty of other amazing things to see and do when you visit Rome, including Vatican City. You might consider taking the time to explore St. Peter's Basilica and the Sistine Chapel, and the many Vatican museums as well. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, hit that subscribe and notification icon so you don't miss any of my upcoming travel videos. Thanks for watching and see you soon.